Jhansi, the League of Devotees, quote, wanted candidates from any nationality to qualify themselves as real Brahmins for preaching the teachings of Bhagavad Gita for all practical purposes throughout the whole world. Deserving candidates will be provided with free boarding and lodging. Apply. A.C. Bhaktivedanta, founder and secretary of the League of Devotees, Bharti Bhavan, P.O. Box, Jhansi, UP, Abhay Charan Day. It was another 12-hour ride with dozens of stops. The train rattling and clattering and its rocking from side to side made writing difficult. But Abhay, crowded on the wooden bench with other third-class passengers, kept writing. I remember that train ride when we went to Haridwar. I took the train from Surat that goes directly to Haridwar. But there were 76 stops. It was really like a local train. But coming back, I think we have another train and we on board at 9:40 p.m. and by 11:10 we are at the Surat station from Delhi. But that was I think it has only 4 or 5 stops. Very fast train. Now they are coming out with the bullet train in India. That will really fast. Let's see. It was another 12-hour ride. Oh, I read it already. Kept writing. Within the dingy compartment, passengers eyed one another complacently, and soot and dust blew in the open window as the train sped along. Outside, past the monotonous embankment of loose stones, bright violet trumpet flowers bloom on tall stalks in the shallow trackside ditches. Water buffalo and oxen graze in the distance, or sometime pull a plough before a solitary farmer. Abhay was going to Jhansi, not for business, but for preaching. 1 month before, in October of 1952, when Abhay had visited Jhansi on business, Mr. Dubey, a customer and the owner of a Jhansi hospital, had invited him to lecture at the Gita Mandir. Many Jhansi people appreciated things religious or humanitarian, whether from Vaishnavas, Theosophists, Mayavadis, politicians, or whatever. They regarded almost any path as dharma, as long as it showed some edifying piety or tended toward the public welfare. Mr. Dubey had read with interest several issues of Back to Godhead and had therefore requested Abhay to speak. Abhay had been eager, and he had found keen interest among the audience of more than 100 people, many of them young medical students and graduates from the local Ayurvedic college. Abhay was 56, and his commanding presentation of Krishna consciousness had impressed the young, religious-minded people of Jhansi. 25-year-old Prabhakar Mishra, principal of the Vedanta Sanskrit College and head medical officer of the Jhansi Ayurvedic University, saw that Abhay was very forceful in his desire to spread Krishna consciousness. Dr. Mishra regarded him as a kind of guru, although dressed in a white coat. Here is a humble person, unquote. He thought, quote, a real sadhu, unquote. Short and stocky Dr. Shastri, just beginning his career in Ayurvedic medicine, was an active young man. Fascinated by Abhay's purity and his vision of a world movement for distributing India's culture, older men like Tall, Show Ramchandran, Hariharan Mitra, a utensil shopkeeper who wrote poetry and wore a white Nehru cap, also wanted to learn more about Lord Chaitanya from Abhay. Dr. Mulik, who was the Gita Mandir secretary, and Dr. Siddhi from the university, along with their wives, had sincerely approached Abhay after his talk and asked him please to visit Jhansi again. Abhay had come to them not as a pharmaceutical salesman or as a man with family concerns, but purely as a devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although the specific applications of Krishna consciousness as given by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati were new to his audience, these teachings had interested them. And the more Abhay had expressed these teachings, as spoken of his ambition for the spreading Krishna's message, the more his hearers had encouraged him. Several of them had suggested he conduct his mission in Jhansi, and they had promised to help him. Dr. Shastri had even invited Abhay to come live with him. He would introduce Abhay to important citizens and arrange for lectures in the various meeting places of Jhansi. After staying for 10 days, Abhay had returned to Allahabad. But remembering Jhansi, he had been unable to concentrate on his business. Something more important was on his mind: the need for an association of devotees propagating the teachings and practices of Krishna consciousness worldwide. With their Gaudiya Math now broken into permanent schemes, his godbrothers conducting their own private ashramas in separate locales, apparently impervious to any reconciliations. Something would have to be done if the overwhelming atmosphere of godlessness were to be corrected. There must emerge, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had envisioned, a league of preachers with activities worldwide. The nation of the world had sought unity through the League of Nations and recently through the United Nations. The League had failed, and so would the United Nations, unless it recognized the true spiritual unity and equality of all living beings in terms of their intimate relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Abhay did not expect any good to come to such organization, though they wanted peace and unity. Their attempts were simply another feature of godlessness. No, creating peace and unity was the duty of Vaishnavas. So Abhay had been thinking that perhaps a likely place to start an organization of devotees would be Jhansi. It wasn't a major city, but at least he had found concerned people. The student had listened and accepted and had said they would help. Abhay has sensed a certain lack of sincerity and depth in their appreciation and sentimentality that made him doubt their seriousness. But if he could find a few or even one who was serious, then he would have a beginning. He wanted to preach. That was his mission. Besides, he was already getting older. If something were to begin, it should be now. So he would go to Jhansi again to stay for an indefinite duration. Without much concern for his Allahabad affairs, Abhay left his pharmaceutical business with his son and nephew, informing them that he was going to Jhansi. As the train pulled into the station, Abhay saw Dr. Sastri waving energetically. They rode together by Tanga to Dr. Sastri's dispensary, and the talkative, effusive doctor promised many preaching opportunities and interviews. Dr. Shastri also spoke of the Lord of Jhansi. The site of the present city had formerly been a part of the forest in which Lord Ramchandra has practiced austerities many thousands of years ago. The Pandavas has lived here during their exile, and since then, many great Vedic sages had had their hermitage in this area. Jhansi had also been the home of an Indian heroine, Lakshmi Bai, who in the mid 19th century had taken part in starting the Indian independence movement against the British regime. Statues and pictures of Lakshmi Bai riding a horse and holding a sword in her upraised hand were displayed throughout the town. But the Jhansi of 1952 was crowded, poor city with dirt street and minimum technological amenities. Dr. Sastri lived alone in two-story rented building in Jhansi's Sipri Bazaar. On the first floor, he had his clinic and upstairs his one-room residence, which he had offered to share with Abhay. Indian people are so kind, huh? It says the beggar, that when they receive the roti, and if the beggar found that another beggar didn't have anything, they will share half of the chapatis. That's the greatness of that culture. The young but influential doctor was a good person to introduce Abhay to receptive citizen of Jhansi, and he was eager to do so. Outgoing and energetic, he moved easily amongst the people of his town. He was respectful towards Abhay, who was twice his age and whom he appreciated as being firmly fixed in the Vaishnava philosophy and way of life. Dr. Sastri saw as his duty to help Abhay, and he gladly introduced Abhay to others and arranged for lectures. Abhay and Dr. Sastri would cook and eat together like family members. Abhay revealed his idea for a League of Devotees, an organization with worldwide scope but based in Jhansi. The citizens of Jhansi, he said, should all take part in helping spread Lord Krishna's mission. Lord Chaitanya has said that Indians have a special responsibility to distribute God consciousness both in India and around the world. You know, famous verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bharate bhumi le hoila manusya janma yar, janma sarthak kari kar paropakar. The who has taken a birth in the holy country of India, they should perfect their life first and then assist others to perfect their lives. So whoever is in an Indian body should remember that verse. And in one sense, whole globe was at Bharatvarsh at one point. So nobody can say they are not Indian. At least they are coming in the same lineage. Dr. Sastri describing this in his own words as follows. In his heart, always it was burning that the whole world was suffering in the materialistic view. Everyone is busy in eating, drinking, and being merry. So the whole day he was touring and preaching his mission that was prescribed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Guru Maharaj. He was having iron will determination. Iron will never shakes. That determination is required. Prabhupada exhibited for all of us. And self-confidence about his mission. He was not doubtful at all. He was dhrad vrat, staunchly determined. Actually, he was always preaching Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam, kalova nasteva, 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 katir anyatha. No other way except Hare Krishna Nam. So always discussing. Sometimes the whole night he was discussing with me. And sometimes I was fed up. Haribol. You know, that's the same thing. I used to visit Dr. Dhingra because he loaned us first 250,000 for the Gauranga Hall. And I have to keep the good relations with him. So I used to take the evening prasadam after, 7:15. I will make one box because he was a single physician. And he spent a lot of the time because there is nobody at home. So I used to go, and I remember that we will start talking at 8 p.m. and still I'm in his clinic at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'll tell Prabhuji, I have to get ready and go to work. Many, many nights I have spent, many, many hours. And eventually we see that he left behind a very good fund of money utilizing for the Radha Nilamadava's benefit. Great soul, very simple. I remember he will wear saffron color kurta and pajamas, and he will wear 99-cent champal that he will get it from dollar store, and he will drive very old car. Never spend any money. One time I was sitting with him in his house. He told me, Shyam Sundar, do you know how much I spend on a monthly basis? I said, doctor, tell me, I would like to know. He said $319 per month, his expense, total. He never turn on AC. He never turn on heating. He have plenty of blanket in the winter time. He will hide in the blankets. Sometimes he has, I think one time he hit something and injured his leg. Even though he's a doctor, he was never doing this dressing up cleaning up or putting some creams and putting the bandage on it. He leaves it open, totally careless about his body. And later part of the time, I remember, because I was associating quite a bit. Sometimes he used to, because the people, these materialistic people, I have learned so many things. They don't want to help the temple. But if they see somebody is ready to help the temple, they will instigate it so many bad things about the temple. So the guy who has little desire, they will just blaspheme the temple, so that person will get discouraged. I remember one time he came to the temple and he shouted so much. And somehow or other, one thing is there, that Krishna, Radha Nilamadava, has always helped me who I am, right? I'm a fallen person, but Krishna gave me so sound noise. I shouted at him double voice, and I said, "Get out from here if you want to talk like nonsense." I was so heavy with him. But then we create very loving relationship at the end. I used to tell him, he used to tell me that what happened in my end of my life. I said, "Dr. Dhingra, don't worry. If you feel that you don't want to stay alone, you can come and stay with me your whole life and I'll take care of you." Those days never came. But one time I found it out because of the close association, that his one eye was totally blind and the second eye was on verge of getting totally gone. So I said, "Doctor, how can you live like that?" He said, "Well, my doctor is in Huntsville, Texas, about 75 miles north of going toward Dallas." I said, "So what? I will take you." So he said, "No, no, 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 I don't want to go." He's so lazy. In that sense, means neglecting his body. I don't know why. He wants to leave the world early. He was fed up with his family member. That last 6 months, I remember, his sister used to live, Veena Mataji, still living. In my presence, doctor says, "I don't want to see anybody's face. Don't knock my door. I don't want to see you come at my home." So then I convince him, "No, doctor, you have to have eyes. How you are going to walk even if you don't have?" So then I remember I take him to the eye doctor in Huntsville. He prescribed, and doctor told me that this guy is neglecting his vision. He's going to lose his vision if he don't wear the glasses. So I still remember on 290, on after the Pine Moon, I think, there is I forgot the name of the sandwich shop, was next to it. And I told this, Vision Arts or something, that still the story is there, I think. I told the guy that we need the glasses today. You can charge whatever amount you want to charge, but we need the glass today. And then they said, "Yes, we can make it if you want to wait for a couple of hours." So I know that Dr. Dhingra will never get it. So I remember Panera bread. We sit down in the Panera bread. If you go on 290 North, you can see Panera bread and some vision shop is there. So that's where we sat down, talk. He always inquisitive about something, but he has so many thoughts, about helping and all different things in his mind. But he was attached with some or other. He sold his very big house in North, and he bought the property right across the temple, and he moved. And then, I got the glasses, and I remember the day that Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj, we have a home program in Clear Lake. So I was attending the home program, and the devotee called me that, "Hey Prabhu, Rakesh Dhingra left the world." I said, "What?" He said, "Yes." So I told Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj that I have to leave. and Maharaj, some other people will drive you back to the temple. I came. This was the scene I saw. Everybody should listen attentively. This is fantastic. I don't know why I'm deviating, but I think it's good because that person has done tremendous austerity and devotion that I think that Radhanamila Madhava has taken care of nicely. So I came. I entered in his house. He was sitting on the sofa in a meditative mode. In front there was like a big brass deity of Krishna was there, so he can see it. On his entry door on the side, there was a very nice picture of Tamal Krishna Maharaj performing the Arti of Radha Madhava. So he has in his vision that picture, Krishna's deity in the front. And because he was getting really regular, I give him one set of Radha Krishna deity from, that deity is from New Vrindavan. And he used to he hang it on the wall. And I think this is my dry speculation, that he must have known that he is gonna not survive. Yeah, because those moments come. It may be a heart attack or something, I don't know. Because he was not anyway sick. He was, his only leg has the problem. Was a lot of pus was there, and I was keep on telling, doctor, you are doctor, why don't you dress it out? And one time I told him, why don't you put hydrogen peroxide? It will clean it out very nicely, and then you put the cream on it. He never listened. So anyway, he was sitting in a meditative mood. And what happened? That he must have tried to touch the feet of Radharani and Krishna. And amazingly, these both pictures just fell down on the sofa, both sides. And when you see it, you will think that somebody has put those pictures beside him. Now that's, we can see how Krishna never forget the service of his devotees. No matter what we say, even if we have faith or no faith. But if you do little thing, Krishna never forget. I have so many other incidents that I have witnessed while I was the temple president for 28 years, very short time. But it was very, very nice to learn so many things. Anyway, it's 6:54, Haribol. So the devotee has to leave. Let me take the screenshot so I can remember where we are. So the devotees who has to go for the work, they are most welcome to do so. And the devotees who are fortunate enough to hang on for another